Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. Ela é menina que vem e que passa. We're going to learn how to play Girl from Ipanema in the key of C. This is part 3 of how to learn this song. In part 1, I cover all the chords you'll need to play this in the key of C. In part 2, I cover bossa nova rhythm. In this video, I'm going to go over the chord progressions for the song. We're going to put the lyrics with it. We'll do some playthroughs of each section. And then in parts 4 and 5 will be play along videos where you can put it all together. I did this so it wouldn't be one like giant, like hour plus long video. If you're new here, hello, my name is Catherine. This is my channel, Ukulele Wine Time. I have my master's degree in music. I've been teaching to kids and adults for over 12 years. My mission is to give you the tools and resources you need to think for yourself as a musician and to bring more creativity to your playing. So I do focus mostly on beginner and intermediate content on my channel. However, I've gotten so many requests to play Girl from Ipanema. So I was happy to oblige. I love Brazilian music. This song, it just lights up so many people. If that is you, if you're just like, what is this sound? I highly suggest you explore more Brazilian music. I'll put a little list below of where to get started if this is kind of a gateway for you to bossa nova and samba and other types of Brazilian music. So highly recommend exploring more. Before we jump in, a couple of important things to talk about: time signature, key signature, and the form. So time signature, I highly recommend feeling this in 2. Now, if you did the bossa nova rhythm video, which I also highly recommend, feeling it in a big 2 is a really good way to feel the bossa samba rhythms. Our key signature, we are learning this in the key of C today. That's for ease of play on your ukulele. That does include some nice friendly chords as well as some new and exciting adventure chords that I cover in, what was that, part 1? If you missed that, definitely check that out because you're going to need it. So that's our key. The original key is F. And then the form of the song, it's verse, verse, bridge, verse, or we could think of that like A, B, A. I'm going to take you through each of the sections. We're going to line it up with the lyrics. We'll talk vocal starting pitch. I'll show you a little bit of the it's not even strumming pattern. It's we're plucking or finger picking this song. But that is mostly covered in the bossa nova rhythm video. So I'll link to that here if you want to go check that out. We'll do a coffee break. Sorry, no wine break today. Haven't really been drinking much wine lately, but we'll do a coffee break. Well, I'll share a super fun fact about the Girl from Ipanema, which blew my mind. I had never heard this before. And I told my husband and he was like riveted. He was like, that's such a good story. So I will share that and we'll practice each section and then you can put it all together in the play along in part 4. Let's take a look at the verse or the A section. Starts with a C major 7 chord. Once again, if you need the chords, check out part 1. And now I'm not going to strum my chords. I'm actually going to pluck or pull on my strings. This is to get us set up for that bossa nova rhythm. But for now, I'm just going to pull all of the strings together. Each finger, thumb through my ring finger gets a string. And you can practice pulling and making sure that those are all sounding together. Once again, I do a little practice on this in the bossa nova rhythm video, so check that out if you need more instruction there. Our first chord progression, we're going from C major 7 to D7 sharp 11. So I've got 2 measures of C major 7 and 2 measures of D7 sharp 11. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. C major 7, C major 7. Then we're switching to our D7 sharp 11. Okay. Then after that, we're going to D minor for 2 beats. That's 1 measure. Then to our D flat sharp 11. Then back to C major 7. and then D flat 7. And that's our whole A section, okay? So let's put this together. Those chords are a little tough to call out. So if you've got your printout, that's available to my Patreon community. That's linked below for a visual, or you can follow along on the screen. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. C major 7, stay there. C major 7, switch to D7 sharp 11, stay there. To D minor next. D flat sharp 11, back to C major 7, D flat 7. Whoo, okay. Some easy chords mixed in with some like very tricky new chords, right? Chord transitions, very helpful to see where you're going, where you're coming from, make some of these newer chords not so tricky. So let's look at one of these. Let's look at our C major 7 chord. You could consider actually playing it, normally we play it with our second finger, our middle finger. You could consider playing it with your ring finger for this song because we're barring a lot on the first fret. And if you want, you can use that second finger for strength on your bar chords. So for example, the last 2 chords in this, you've got C major 7 to D flat 7. So if you do that, ring finger there, then you can just bar. Makes that chord transition a little bit easier. The second A section is exactly the same as the chord progression we just played. However, we don't go to that D flat 7 at the end. You stay on C major 7 for an extra measure or an extra 2 beats. Let's try that all together. Starting with our C major 7. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. C major 7, 2. C major 7. Switch to D7 sharp 11. Stay there. Here comes D minor. D flat sharp 11. To C major 7. D flat 7. Then we repeat the whole thing. C major 7. Stay there. Then to D7 sharp 11, stay there. 1, 2, D minor, D flat sharp 11, then C major 7, and then stay there. Okay, that brings us up to the B section. Let's put that together with the lyrics now. So I'm going to sing the English lyrics along with this. If you are familiar with my song tutorials, you know I like to line up chords with word anchors. I got bad news for you. In Brazilian music, and a lot of it is syncopated, which means things don't necessarily line up with the beat as often, which makes it so fun to listen to for our ears. It's just so interesting. So we don't really have that many word anchors, but I'm going to kind of give you a little direction of where the words land in relationship to where your chords land. Okay. So our first one, and let's talk vocal starting pitch first, and then we'll add our lyrics. So our starting pitch, we're in the key of C. You can find your open C string, that's your do or your 1 or your home base of your key. Your vocal starting pitch is a D, tall and tan and young and lovely. So you can find that by playing the 2nd fret of your C string. Tall. Now you won't find this note, tall, in your C major 7 chord. Again, what gives it that beautiful, unique sound, this is the 9 of the chord. We won't go into that now, but or the 2nd note of the scale. Tall. So just take a second and find that note, tall, and sing it over your C major 7 chord. Tall. And this actually does line up with our first chord. So our C major 7, we'll play that with tall and tan and young. So we'll sing young right before we play another C major 7 chord. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl. So girl happens right before your next chord, your D7 sharp 11. the girl from Ipanema. So that second time through that chord happens after you say Nima. It's in the middle there. Ipanema goes walking, and when. So you sing when and then play your D minor chord. When she passes each one. So one and then your chord. You see that's a pattern now. The word happens and then your chord follows immediately after. One she passes goes oh my gosh, you have a word anchor finally on You're gonna play your C major 7 chord. And then to D flat 7. When, we have another word anchor. So there's when, we get to sing on our C major 7 chord, verse 2. When she walks, she's like, and then the chord hits, like a samba that swings. Swings could line up. Swing, swing, so cool and sways. So sways, and then the chord hits. Swing so cool and sway so gently that when, same thing, when and then D minor. When she passes each one, she passes goes ah. So 1, and then you hit your D flat 7 sharp 11, and then lines up again with our C major 7. There are the verses. How's that feeling? Let's look at the bridge next. We have a little more time on each chord, so time to think ahead to your next chord transition. That's nice. We're starting with our D flat major 7. And our melody note, I'll just get that, I'll share that up front, is a C, so you can play your open C string to find your melody note there. You're actually singing the major 7th of the chord, which is so beautiful. Okay, so we've got 2 measures of D flat major 7, and then we switch to F sharp 7. So we've got D flat major 7, and then to our F sharp 7. We're up on the 6th fret there, lots of bar chords. Woo! It might hurt a little bit as you are playing and practicing these bar chords, but it's gonna get better. I will say, don't play too much, don't shred your fingers, but just build up your finger strength there. It'll get better, I promise. Okay, so then we've got 2 measures of our F sharp 7. Let's play just that much. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. D flat major 7, stay there. 1, 2. F sharp 7, 2. Stay there. 1, 2. All right, the timing stays the same. So we've got 2 measures of the next chord. We've got D flat minor. We're barring across the 4th fret. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then to A7. 1, 2. Stay there. 1, 2. This is nice, lots of space in between. Next chord pair, we've got D minor to B flat 7. Same thing, 2 measures or 2 counts of 2 on each chord. Here we go. Ready, and D minor, 2, stay there. Then to B flat 7, stay there. Okay, and then our last 4 chords of the bridge get 2 beats each. That's we're counting our big 2 if you're feeling it in 2. So we've got E minor to A7 flat 9, then D minor to G7 flat 9. Here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, ready, go. E minor, 2, A7 flat 9, 2. D minor, 2, G7 flat 9. All right, that's a tricky little section. I recommend just practicing those little chord pairs together rather than doing the whole thing. So anywhere you are hesitating, that's a great little flag saying, hey, practice me. So you can try doing it 8 times in a row. So for example, you could do the E minor to the A7 flat 9 and just that. E minor to A7 flat 9. Okay, and then you can do the next little pair, D minor to G7 flat 9. That's a little finger gymnastics there to get into that shape. All right, here's the whole bridge. I realized that I was strumming earlier, which is fine if you want to strum that way right now to just get the chord shapes under your fingers as you're putting this all together. However, I'm actually going to switch to plucking my strings now for this playthrough of the bridge. So here we go. I'm going to slow down just a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2. D flat major 7, stay there, and 2. F sharp 7, stay there, 1, 2. D flat minor 7, stay there, then 2. A7, stay there, then 2. D minor, stay there, 2. B flat 7, stay there, 1. Here we go, our E minor, 2. A7 flat 9, D minor, 2. G7 flat 9. Woo! And then, we're back at a verse or another A section. Let's add our lyrics now to the B section or to the bridge. So I mentioned earlier our melody note is an open C, and that is the 7th of your D flat major 7 chord. Oh, oh. Okay. We actually have a couple word anchors here. Thank you. That's very nice. So our D flat major 7 lines up with our oh, but he watches so sadly. So sadly lines up with our F sharp 7. Then our next one, how, lines up with our D flat minor 7. How can he tell her he loves her? Loves lines up with our A7. Loves her. Okay, so D minor lines up with yes. And I just want to point out that melody note there is an open E string. Yes, yes. He would give his heart gladly. Our B flat 7 lines up with gladly, gladly. But each day lines up with your E minor. Day when she walks to the sea. Almost C, but not quite. Lines up with our A7 flat 9. Today when she walks to the sea, she looks lines up with our D minor. Look straight ahead, not at he. Not quite. Look straight ahead, not at he. And then tall and ten. We're back at our verse. Let's try the bridge now with the lyrics. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, but he watches so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly. But each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at he. Tall. And you know what? Looks doesn't line up exactly with the D minor. But if you want to, as an anchor, you can, but it's close, but not quite on it. We're almost there. We've got one more A section to go. It's actually exactly the same as the first A section. So we've got C major 7 to D7 sharp 11, D minor, D flat 7 sharp 11, then you're home free, C major 7 to D flat 7. Let's jump right in and try it with the lyrics. So we've got tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes he smiles, but she doesn't see. She just doesn't see. And then for an ending vamp, you can actually, which means you can repeat 2 chords or 1 chord. So our ending outro vamp is going to be C major 7 to D flat 7. So we've got C major 7, so 2 beats on that, and then to D flat 7, and this works well as an intro as well if you want to try it out. Here's what it sounds like in action. 1, 2. Okay, that takes us through the whole song, Girl From Ipanema, in the key of C. By the way, this song was written in 1962. The composer was Antonio Carlos Jobim, the master. Portuguese lyrics by Vinicius de Moraes. And English lyrics were later written by Norman Gimbel. Okay, y'all been working so hard. Let's take a mini break. I'm taking a coffee break. You can take a wine break, whatever you need. Cheers. Cheers to you for taking time out of your day to learn something new. This is really hard work. If you have made it this far, seriously, cheers to you. You can do it. Keep going. Keep going. That's all I have to say. This song is so beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, a fun fact is about the real life Girl from Ipanema. So the song, she was the inspiration behind this song. So the composers, Jobim and Antonio Carlos Jobim and Vinicius de Moraes were on the beach in Rio and Ipanema, and they saw this beautiful woman walking along the beach, and she became like their whole inspiration for this song. She has a name. Her name is Eloisa Pinheiro. She is still with us. She's a Brazilian businesswoman and former model. And here's that's a fun fact, but here's just like a little juicy fact on top of that. So there was actually a legal case against her. So she wanted to start a business, or I guess it was a boutique, called Garota de Ipanema, Girl from Ipanema, the Portuguese title. And the heirs of the composers, so the composers were no longer with us, but their heirs tried to sue her, or they did sue her. They said, you can't use the song title commercially, even though she was literally the Girl from Ipanema, but actually she had super strong public support behind her. They were strongly in favor of Pinheiro, reading the Wikipedia page. But as evidence, there was a press release by the composers that actually named her as the original Girl from Ipanema, and the court ruled in her favor. So you can look her up. I guess she has a boutique called Garota de Ipanema. That is my fun fact. I thought that was so interesting. And by the way, if this is your first Jobim song, oh my gosh, just dive into his compositions. Just beautiful. Like, you can really go far, and just a beautiful composer, melodies and chord progressions. And oh my gosh, you could just listen to it forever. I love Jobim, just the tip of the iceberg to Brazilian music, but obviously very important. So please don't let this be your last Brazilian song that you learn on your ukulele. I hope you learn lots more. Let me know if you have a request. I would love to do more videos for you. Next up, we've got the full song playthrough. That's going to be in the next video. Definitely spend some time with the chords your bossa nova pattern that I showed you in the second video, and then the chord transitions and how everything connects in this video. Spend some time with that, and then we'll try it all together in the playthrough. I will see you soon. You can do it. Keep going. All right. Cheers. Ukulele wine time.